Okay, so I think you can start, Aman.
Good evening, sir. I am Aman Kumar Rajat. I am from Dhanbad, which is also known as the coal capital of the country. I have a family of 4, wherein my father runs a shop, my mother is a homemaker, and I have a younger sibling. I have completed my matriculate and intermediate from B.Tech Public School. After that, I pursued B.Tech in civil engineering from IIT. Sir, I have done my vocational training from NHI, and the main aim of the training was to learn different aspects of highway construction. So during this project, my contribution was to check the quality and suitability of construction materials used. Sir, I faced various problems like lack of skill levels, lack of proper machineries. So during this project, I learned a bit about managerial stuff like monitoring the usage, supply, and demand of construction materials. So now coming to my final year project, the topic of my final year project was use of waste material in modern day construction. During this project, I was accompanied by 5 of my batchmates. The main aim of this project was to learn and see that how and up to what extent waste materials can be used in modern day construction. The main waste material which was used in this project was plastic. So my contribution in this project was to select a particular type and quality of plastic and to measure the strength of concrete tubes which was formed by replacing finer aggregates with plastic. So the conclusion which we made at the end of this project was that yes, waste materials can be used in modern day construction, but only up to certain extent. And this extent totally depends upon the member which was formed. Like if we are making a load bearing member, major load bearing member, then the amount of waste material should be less. But if we are making non-load bearing members, then the amount of waste material which was used should increase. Now coming to my extracurriculars, from school days, I was very keen to participate in various inter-house competitions. I've represented my school at various intra-district debate competitions also, which also continued during my college days. So when I was in first year of my college, I joined an NGO named Prayas India, where I was involved in a lot of social works and social activities. Sir, I've also been a president of a literary cum cultural club of my college named Literary Society, where I have hosted different events like Logo File and Designigma. Sir, I have represented my college as a campus ambassador in a national level literary event named Yuvan, which was hosted by Delhi Technological University. Sir, I have also been a part of a startup named UMedic, which basically provides service like booking appointment of doctors online. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so Aman, when did you graduate?
Sir, I graduated in 2020.
Okay, and did you do anything after that?
No, sir, that year I was preparing for my GATE exams.
Okay, and Aman, you're a civil engineer, right?
Yes, sir.
So how do you justify being civil engineer, you joining NITIE Bombay?
Sir, being a civil engineering student, I learned a lot of things from this branch. So during these 4 years of my B.Tech, I learned various subjects. Sir. Civil engineering is basically a very vast subject. It not only teaches you about construction, but also teaches you about environment, also teaches you about irrigation and water related things. So in that way, I know a little bit from all these subjects. And so the best thing which I learned from civil engineering is learning from the environment, learning from the surroundings. Sir, the best thing which we were taught in civil engineering is that how to observe your surrounding and how to learn from that surrounding. So in that way, I think I can contribute to NITIE.
Okay, and Aman, what domain of industrial engineering is your favorite? Where do you think you can specialize and contribute? In which domain of industrial engineering?
So basically, I think I can contribute in that domain which is related to environmental aspects, and I think I can also contribute in inventory management.
Okay, now let me ask you, let's see this development, especially like construction management and construction development, these are always basically are the activities which compromise the environment. Now, how can you make this development more sustainable so that environment is not basically compromised?
So basically what happens in a construction project is that we require a piece of land. And if that piece of land has some forest or something, then if we want to develop something, construct something, then we definitely have to cut those land. But we can compromise that, or we can plant trees somewhere else. Or if we are constructing a project, suppose in a land we constructed a building, then we can plant trees around those buildings, or we can plant trees even in the building. Sir, I have recently viewed a video in China where they are planting trees in the building itself. Like the number of trees they cut it to build that structure, they have planted more trees there. So in that way, I think environment will be safe.
Okay, great. So can you tell me what is Greenfield project, Aman?
Sorry, sir, I have no idea.
Okay, and can you tell me some typical problems related to construction industry in India?
Sir, during my training period, what I felt like the major problem which construction project is facing right now in India is first, lack of proper structure. Second, lack of skilled laborers. And third, lack of proper machineries. And fourth, lack of pressure from the governing bodies, like the major governing bodies.
What about training and guidance?
What's that?
What about training?
Training
of the workers. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, what I think is in construction projects in India, there are no provision of giving trainings to the workers. They're just picked from a spot and just told to do a specific job.
But that is not good, because they should be trained in safety measures, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you think? Yeah.
Yes, sir. That is a proper protocol. If we want to achieve a certain level of quality at the end of our construction, then we must have to train those workers, because those are the integral part. Those are the people who are doing actual work on ground. Engineers' work is to just detail them or to guide them, but they are not doing the actual job on the actual work on the job on the field. So I think training should be given, at least not more than at least 7 days of training. I think will be more than enough for a worker to understand that how he has to do that particular job.
Okay, so are you aware about ISO certification related to environment?
Sorry, sir?
Are you aware about ISO certification related to environment?
Yes, sir. Sir, ISO mainly stands for International Organization for Standardization. So the first certification of ISO was ISO 9000.
No, I'm talking about environment. ISO certification related to environment, I'm asking.
Sorry, sir, I have no idea.
Okay, so you are a civil engineer. Let me ask you something. How do you calculate the strength of any material?
Sir, strength of any material is basically the amount of resistance it can produce if it is applied by a certain force. If certain force is acting, then the amount of resistance it produces basically gives you the idea of the strength of that material.
Okay, so if
it can be a tensile strength of that material, either or compressive strength.
Okay, so can you tell me when you give the reinforcement of the steel in the concrete?
Yes, sir.
In case of beam, where do you give that reinforcement?
Sir, in case of beams, there are mainly two types of reinforcement which we can give, like the longitudinal reinforcement, which should be on the corners, and then we tie those beams.
Okay, go ahead.
So we tie those beams on, then those. Sir, if we gave reinforcement like 4 ways on the 4 corners, then we have to tie those 4 corners laterally, which is also known as.
So, what is the significance of point of contraflection?
Sir, at point of contraflection, the bending moment is 0.
So, what is the significance of that?
Sorry, sir, I have no idea.
Okay, so you know something about Pert and CPM?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what are these?
Sir, these are scheduling tools or scheduling methods where CPM stands for Critical Path Method and PERT stands for Program Evaluation and Review Technique.
How do you calculate the time estimates in PERT?
Sir, in PERT, there are methods like we mainly follow the critical path, the path which takes the longest time. And in PERT, we measure variances like variance and standard deviation, which gives you an idea about the variability of that project.
Okay, so my question is, how do you calculate the time estimates in PERT?
Sir, I'm not properly understanding this question.
So activity time, how do you calculate activity time in PERT? Activity time is not given no in PERT, right? It is a probabilistic model, no?
Yes, sir.
So you don't have activity time for deterministic time. You don't have. So how do you calculate that? That's my question.
Sir, actually, sir, in PERT we measure Z, which is mainly the estimated time minus mean time divided by variance.
Okay. So do you know something about the Gantt chart?
Sorry, sir, I don't know the perfect answer.
Okay. So you know what is Gantt chart, Aman? Gantt chart.
So Gantt chart is a bar chart which is used to find the time estimate, the time of completion of a project, but it is connected form of bar chart.
So it is to find out the time, or is it a progress chart?
Sir, it is connected, and it at the end it gives you the time of completion of a project.
Or you already know the completion of the project and then you are just gauging the progress. Suppose project is to be completed in 1 year. Project time is already known, right? That is 1 year. Now, why do you plot Gantt chart for that?
So to see the connection between various events, like if an event A is completed, then when we have to start event B, and when we have to start other event, like if certain events are going side by side, then we have to see that after a certain event, which event starts and which event to follow.
Okay. Okay, man, you have any question to ask the panel?
Sir, I have a doubt that I've studied industrial engineering, like I've studied inventory management and things related to supply chain management, and also things related to project management. So sir, in how much depth should I go through, or should I focus on my CPM and PERT only?
See, you should know PERT CPM. जो मैंने 25 पेज का डॉक्यूमेंट दिया उसको तो पढ़ ही लो.
Yes sir.
और PERT CPM वगैरह तुम्हारे इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं, तो योर पीडी एजुकेशन पे जो शुरू का इंट्रोडक्शन है उसको देख लो. So that much part you should know actually.
Okay sir.
This is something which you should know, right? So वो
Okay,
आपको बेसिक पता होना चाहिए. जो मैंने भेजे हैं ना डॉक्यूमेंट, उनको गो थ्रू कर लो. मोर द बेटर. That is all I can say. More the better. क्योंकि आर्बिट्रेरली कहीं से भी पूछ लेते हैं वो. तो जस्ट रिवाइज दैट अमन. और ये जो मैंने लास्ट क्वेश्चन पूछा था, डू यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन टू आस्क पैनल, तो क्वेश्चन याद रखना तुमने क्या पूछना उनसे. वो तुम्हें चांस दे सकते हैं कि कुछ पूछना है तो पूछ लो. तो यू शुड आस्क समथिंग.
Sir, like related to
anything which you want to ask them.
Right now, honestly speaking, right now I have nothing to ask, like
prepare
from
it.
you, but
prepare it and ask them. तो सोच लो क्या पूछना है और उनसे पूछ लेना बाद में आप.
Like things related to NITIE and all.
हाँ, you can ask that.
Okay.
मतलब उसमें जो उनको लगे कि नहीं, you have a level and you are asking that, right?
Okay sir.
Fine.
Okay sir.
Okay, Aman. So I'll give you 6.5 as of now, Aman. You need to go to a level. ड्रेसिंग ठीक है, टाई को थोड़ा अच्छे तरीके से बांधो. पीछे बैकग्राउंड में कर्टन में बैकग्राउंड अच्छी होनी चाहिए तुम्हारी. कर्टन ठीक होना चाहिए, करली नहीं होना चाहिए. एंड बाकी ठीक है, साउंड ठीक है, वॉइस लेवल अच्छा है, लाइट ठीक है, उसमें कोई ट्रबल नहीं है. नॉलेज एक्वायर कर लो थोड़ा सा. कब है तुम्हारा, कब है?
26
है, तो थोड़ा नॉलेज एक्वायर कर लो. कल भी मॉक लगाना.
Okay.
कल ढंग से मॉक लगाना और कल तैयारी करके वो सारा इंडस्ट्रियल इंजीनियरिंग वगैरह के टॉपिक्स थोड़े से वो पढ़ो और करंट का पढ़ के फिर देन यू गो फॉर इट, राइट?
Okay sir.
ओके अमन, थैंक यू.
Thank you.